Hi friends, and welcome to our Superkids reading lesson for today. We will be reading the story Zoo Clue. You will need your More Adventures Superkid reader. If you don't have that, it's okay. You can read along with me on the screen. So let's take a look at our words for our story. So you will notice in our table of contents that our Unit 10 has one story, and the name of that story is Zoo Clue. So let's look at some of our words here. So we learned that the sound that the soft C makes is S, and usually to make that sound, the C is followed by an E or an I. So let's look at these words. Nice, place, raced. We also learned that soft G goes J, and it is usually followed by an E or I as well. So let's read these words together. Gentle, giraffe, huge. So these are all words that we can sound out using our spelling rules. So here are some words in our story that are triggers. Now, the reason they're triggers is because they have a tag-along E. So you see that E at the end of each of those words. It's just there. It's just tagging along. It doesn't make any sound of its own. Okay, so let's read these words together. Figure, giraffe, give, have, house, live, love, please, solve, tease. Remember when you see those two vowels together? Remember our little chant when two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. I see that in a couple of these words. Please, tease. And then I also notice in house, the OU says ow, house, but it's got that tag along E. And I also notice that some of these trigger words are memory words like give, live, house, please. Before we get started with our story, I wanted to talk to you about zoos because it says that the name of this story is Zoo. So what do we know about zoos? A zoo is a place where animals from around the world are kept so people can see them up close and learn more about them. So this is the second page in our story. I wanted to look at it to point out these right here. These are notes. So they're notes that Edabetta has written. Read along with this one with me. Dear Superkids, this is an animal riddle game. Read each riddle and figure out which animal it is about. Go to that animal and there will be another riddle for you. Solve all the riddles. There is a nice prize at the end. Love, Edabetta. So in this story, Edabetta has written riddles about different zoo animals for the other Superkids and readers to figure out. So how about we try a simple animal riddle? Let's put on our thinking caps. I'm small and furry. I have a bushy tail. I climb trees and collect nuts. Who am I? Think about that. If you said squirrel, you would be correct. A squirrel has a bushy tail, it's small, it's furry, it climbs trees, and it collects nuts. Okay, so give me a moment while I go to our story. So this is the first page in our story. We see the title, Zoo Clue. So when we're reading our story, we always set a purpose for reading. And our purpose today is to find out more about Edabetta's riddle game and the animals that the riddles are about. So I'm going to read this first page for you. I'd like you to go ahead and read along with me. Zoo Clue. Where is Edabetta? Asked Talk. She asked us to meet her here at the zoo. Maybe she's inside, said Cass. Let's find her. The kids went up to the ticket booth. Are you the Superkids? Asked the lady in the booth. Yes, said Icky. I have something for you, said the lady. She handed a note to Icky. So why did the Superkids go to the zoo? So they went to the zoo because Edabetta asked the kids to meet her there. What does the lady in the ticket booth give the Superkids? She gives them a note. Look at the ticket booth. What happens at a ticket booth? What is the purpose of a ticket booth? You buy tickets to see something. You might see a ticket booth in a movie theater, a museum, or a fair. Let's read the next page. Icky read it. Dear Superkids, this is an animal riddle game. Read each riddle and figure out which animal it is about. Go to that animal and there will be another riddle for you. Solve all the riddles. There's a nice prize at the end. Love, Edabetta. Look, said Hot Rod. The first riddle is on the back. So here's the note with the riddle. I'll read that to you. I live in the desert. I have a huge hump. You can ride on my back. I'm not a grump. So who wrote the riddle? Edabetta wrote it. And what should the Superkids do with each riddle? They're going to read the riddle and figure out which animal it is about. Then what do? Then they're supposed to go to that animal to find another riddle. So let's think aloud. To figure out the riddle, I think about each clue and what I know about animals. It says the animal lives in the desert. That could be a coyote, a rattlesnake, or a camel. The next clue says the animal has a huge hump. I know camels have a big hump and you can ride them. So I think this riddle is about a camel. Okay, let's read the next page. Go ahead and read this page to yourself. Okay, if you're not quite done, just pause the video here until you're ready to move on. So what animal do the super kids look for? So they look for a camel, and they're looking for that camel because it's the answer to the first riddle, and they know the next riddle should be near a camel. So let's think about the word grump. Is a grump someone who frowns or smiles? Frowns. Make a grumpy face for me, please. What are some other words that mean grumpy? Grouchy, crabby, cranky. Can you think of any others? So why does Tick say that the camels aren't grumps? That's right, she says they are smiling. Why do you think Fritz says the camels are just hungry? One of the camels is trying to eat his cotton candy in the picture on page 175. So let's take a moment and look at the picture. This is the zookeeper. What does he let Doc do? So he lets her feed a fish to the seal. What are some other things that you think zookeepers do? So they take care of animals, they might help them if they get sick. So let's compare and contrast. Remember, compare means to think about things how they are alike, and contrast means to think about how they are different. So how are the places where the animals kept alike? So they're all behind bars. How are they different? Well, the gorilla's in a cage. The giraffes and camels have grass in their pens. The penguins have seals, or the penguins and seals have water and ice. Let's think about the characters right now. How do you think the super kids are feeling to be at the zoo? Yeah, I think they're excited and really interested. Okay, let's read the next page. Okay, I'm going to read this page to you. Go ahead and read along with me. Look, here is another note, said Hot Rod. I give milk, and I say moo. I live on a farm, but I'm here at the zoo. Goats give milk, said Oswald. But goats don't moo, said Lily. Cows moo. That's true, said Oswald. Well, let's find the cow. So what does Hot Rod find? He finds another riddle. Why do you think a cow is the answer to the riddle and not a goat? Well, a cow gives milk, says moo, and lives on a farm. A goat does not say moo. It's a little bit hard to see on my picture, but if you look closely or if you have your book, you'll notice something about Edebetta's riddle. Each sentence is a clue about an animal. The words moo and zoo rhyme, but here's the part that's a little bit tricky. Some of the letters are red. Okay, do you see that? If you look really carefully, you can see that. So find Fritz in the picture. How does he look? Looks upset, surprised. Why do you think he's feeling that way? So if you look, right, you'll see that the camel took his hat. Okay, let's read the next page. Go ahead and read this to yourself. Okay, if you need a little more time, just press pause until you're ready to move on. So what does Sal call the little goat? That's right, he calls him a super kid. Why does he do that? He's making a joke. Tack says the coat is super and the baby coat is called a kid. Put the two words together and you get super kid. That name's funny, right? Because Sal and the other kids call themselves the super kids. Okay, here's our next page. Go ahead and read this page to yourself. Don't forget to read the note. Okay, if you need more time, go ahead and pause here until you're ready to move on. So it says the cow is gentle. If an animal is gentle, do you think it will kick and bite if you get near it or stay calm and quiet? That's right, the animal will stay calm and quiet. So let's look at the pictures. Where did Oswald find the riddle? If you look right here. So he found it on a tree branch by a cow. What animal do you think answers the riddle? Why do you think that? Okay, let's move on. See if your prediction is correct. I'm going to go ahead and read this page. You can read along with me. A coat of brown means its fur is brown, said Oswald. If it has two big ears and brown fur, it could be a rabbit, said Sal. But rabbits don't fly, said Tack. It must be a bird. But birds don't have big ears, said Talk. Owls look like they have ears, and they fly, said Tack. But owls never hang upside down, said Icky. Hold it. I know. It's a bat. So what is an animal's coat? It is fur. And what's another meaning for coat? So something a person wears to stay warm outside. So let's draw some conclusions. Remember, we're going to take what we know and what we read and figure out something that might not directly be in the text. So why does Sal think the answer to the riddle is a rabbit? Well, the riddle says the animal has two big ears and a brown coat. Tack thinks he's wrong, but why? It's because the riddle also says the animal can fly and rabbits can't fly. So look at the picture. What is Tack picturing in her head? A flying rabbit, right? Is that a real animal? No. And then you look and you see Icky has a picture of an owl upside down. Do owls go upside down? No. Okay, let's go on to the next page. Go ahead and read this page to yourself. Okay, if you need more time, go ahead and pause the video here. So what is the bat house like? Looks like a cave. It has a bunch of bats flying around in it. Can the bats fly out at the Superkids? No, there's glass between the bats and the kids. Why do you think Cass doesn't like the bat house? She might not like it because she may be afraid of bats. So let's think, how are bats like birds? They both have wings and can fly. How are they different? How are bats different than birds? So let's see, bats have big ears. They have brown fur instead of feathers, and birds don't hang upside down. Let's go on to the next page. Go ahead and read this page to yourself. Okay, if you need more time, you can pause the video until you're ready. How is this note different from the others? So this note doesn't give clues about an animal, and it's not written as a riddle. And I noticed that none of the letters are red. And all the sentences end in rhyming words, not just the second and last sentences. So where does this note tell the Superkids to go? So they're supposed to go to the petting zoo. What is a petting zoo? So petting zoo is a part of the zoo where visitors can pet the animals. So what does the note say the Super Kids will find at the petting zoo? It says they'll find a prize and Edabetta. Okay, let's read the next page. I'm going to go ahead and read this page. You can read along with me. Where have you been? Said Edabetta. Some of your riddles were tricky, said Tick. Where's our prize? Asked Hot Rod. You'll have to figure out what it is first, said Edabetta. Please don't tease us, Edabetta. We're tired, said Sal. Just look at the red letters in all the clues, said Edabetta. Put them together to make 2 words. The words tell you what the prize is. So why do you think Edabetta asks where the Super Kids have been? I think probably because it took longer than she expected for the kids to find her. In the picture, Edabetta looks like she feels grumpy. Why might she be feeling grumpy? So she's probably been waiting for the kids for a long time. Sal seems a bit grumpy too. Why? So he says he's tired, and he thinks that Edabetta is teasing them by giving them another riddle to solve. So remember those red letters in the riddles? Why are they important? They are important because the Super Kids have to put together the red letters from all the zoo clues to spell 2 words that will tell them what their prize is. Okay, here we go to the next page. I'm going to go ahead and read this. You can read along with me. The kids looked at the red letters in the clues. Boo saloons? Noozle blues? Zool laboons? No, no, no. Are the kids' guesses about the prize correct? No. How can we tell? So the words they're saying are not real words, right? And Edabetta is down in the corner and she's saying, no, no, no. So make a guess here, make a prediction. What do you think the letters spell? Let's find out. Let's read it together. I have it, said Sal. It's zoo balloons. So what is the surprise prize? It is zoo balloons. Was your guess correct? Why do you think these balloons are called zoo balloons? Yeah, some of the balloons are in the shapes of animals. So do you think the Super Kids enjoyed playing Edabetta's riddle game? Why or why not? So I think maybe they enjoyed playing her game because they seemed excited and they seemed to be enjoying looking at the animals and figuring out the clues. But we could also say maybe they didn't like them or they didn't like it because the clues were tricky and they may have gotten tired of the game by the end. Okay, so I have an assignment for you. So when we're done with the video, this is what I'd like you to do. I want you to think about the adventures you've read about in our reader. So the Super Kids visited a zoo, spent the day at the beach, rode rides at an amusement park, had a slumber party, chased a runaway dragon, and solved the mystery of the case of the mystery monster. Which adventure do you think would be the most fun and why? So when you're done with this video, I want you to find someone in your family, a mom, a dad, or maybe a sibling, and I want you to tell them what your favorite adventure was in the reader, in our second reader, and tell them why you think it would be the most fun. Make sure when you do that, you give them reasons to support your opinion. So you're giving your opinion. Remember, we talked about that. An opinion is what you think. And when you voice your opinion, it's important to give supporting reasons. So until next time, I want you to stay healthy, be kind, and keep learning.